so today what we're talking about is redefining human intimacy, because it's actually one of the most beautiful applications of Tantra. Like Tantra can be very spiritual, like it's simply experiencing your life in a very expanded, beautiful way, because it really is what humans are. Like we're not just animals, you know, procreating, living, dying, eating. We really are much more than that. But we also are human, like we really are here enjoying this three-dimensional world, and it's really awesome. So intimacy is one of the most beautiful applications, because we've often defined intimacy as sex, right? It's really just, well, I'm very intimate with you because we have sex, right? But it's actually so much more than that. And as a society, who you had sex with, you now build a life around. And now we share a home, and now we have babies, and now we do this, and we fit into society in this particular way. And at some point, we actually lose the connection with each other. And the sex becomes physical, it just becomes, well, it's Thursday night, we haven't done it in like 2 weeks, we really should, you know, and it just becomes a very physical, procreative type thing. Whether you want to have babies or not, it's still the same action. It's still sort of this, you know, like, are we done yet kind of thing, right? Even if it's fun, even if it's awesome, it's still very repetitive. So in intimacy, what's interesting is, imagine that that wasn't the goal. Imagine as humans, the goal was to actually deeply connect. Forget about the family and the relationship and the what has to happen, what should happen. What if it's so much more than that? What if humans, as we connect, we actually heal each other, and we nourish each other, and we grow, and we expand, and we feel that, like deep down, we know this is true. We know this is actually why we're supposed to interact with people. But how do we do it? Because if we only look at how we fit in the clan, we're going to stay very, well, here's my expectation of you, here's what I want, here's what it is, and we don't trust each other, we can't be open, we can't connect. So the foundation of Tantra, as I teach it, in terms of relationship, it actually begins with kindness. So if you imagine kindness, they talk about agape, the Greek word for, it's actually God's love for man, or man's love for God. It's when you look around at people and you genuinely believe and you understand that we all are trying our best. Like we actually literally are all in this together. You know, no matter, we might look at someone and go, wow, I can't believe they're choosing that. Like they must just be whatever. But the truth is, if we walked in their shoes, we would make the exact same choice. If we actually were walking through their karma, their life choices, their experiences, their gifts, their challenges, we too would make the exact same choice. So then all of a sudden, when we're interacting with them, why would it be anything but kind? So now we take that into a personal relationship, an intimate relationship. So you imagine you have some, let's say you and I are in an intimate relationship, and I share something personal, and you go, you can almost feel the distance happen. And you're like, what? It didn't mean anything. And it's like, it doesn't matter, it still creates distance. Whereas if you know that this person has kindness, 100% kindness, this is like the number one thing I give my students when they study with me, is that your next challenge, your next sadhana, your spiritual practice is to be 100% kind all the time. And it's a huge challenge, right? And the goal isn't necessarily even the kindness, it's what you have to actually heal inside of you to be that kind. So you imagine the difference. If someone, let's say you're in a partnership, and this person pisses you off. They do something and you're just like, the question becomes, what do you really want in the relationship? Right? Do you want to join? Like, do you want to have union? Do you want to have connection? Or do you want to punish them? Or do you want to hurt them? Or do you want to defend yourself against this? Well, if you want to hurt them, you say, you're always doing this. You always do this to me. Da 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 da. See, this is why you're always alone. This is why da da da. Like, we are so mean, right? Like, we can just hurt someone so deeply. But if our goal is to connect, if our goal is to actually have union with this person, we're going to step back and go, you know, it's that idea that just because a thought goes through your mind doesn't mean you have to say it, right? Like, it's like, we have thousands of thoughts, like, can't we, it's like, yeah, but what do we want? We're bigger than that. We're not just an animal responding. We're bigger than that. So we step back and we go, you know what I really want is I want to love you. I want to connect with you. So you step back and you say, I don't want to feel like this. I wanted to spend time with you and you didn't. And I miss you and I love you and I want to be with you. And that's the truth. And that's the second step of the kindness is honesty. Because we have to be honest with ourselves. The truth is, I'm hurt because I just want to be with you and I don't want to lose you. And then the other person goes, oh, I want to be with you too. I'm sorry. I didn't think. I'm sorry. And you know when it is genuine. Or even with children. You know, if we're raising children, let's say the child goes out, they're out too late, we're terrified, we're angry, we're scared, they come home, and what's our response? Well, if we want to punish them, shame them, guilt them, or do something to please make them not do it again, you're like, why are you always doing this? You're going to go to God. You know what's going to happen? Whole life's going to, we just do this thing and we attack them. And of course, what are they doing? They're like, you know, or we look at them and we say, I was so scared. Like, I don't want to lose you. Can we figure something out so that we don't have this again because I was just so scared? Because that's what forges a connection, as opposed to this disconnect that says, damn it all, why, this kind of thing, this sort of beating of the other person. And this is really the foundation, because every time we choose that kindness, every time we choose to actually say, I really want to connect deeper with you, magic happens. It's like you step a little closer and a little closer and a little closer, and then all of a sudden the other person actually says, actually, you know what? I didn't really want to stay out that late with my friends anyway. I just didn't know what to do, or I was afraid to call you because I knew you'd be mad to pick me up. And in intimacy, in a relationship, suddenly the other person goes, you know, the truth is I've never felt this kind of closeness with anyone and I'm a little frightened. So I'm pushing away, and I realize that now. And then all of a sudden you're having a conversation you never would have had before. Because now both of us have the goal of actually becoming closer and closer and closer. And then what's amazing is when you can have 100% kindness, right? Then all of a sudden we're allowed to be 100% truthful. And not truthful what I think of you, but my truth. Because often most of us have never even had that kind of opportunity to be that honest. Right? We've never even had anyone in our lives that who actually could handle our truth. But literally to say the truth is, here's who I really am, here's how I really feel, here's where I'm kind of damaged, but here's what I'm really good at. And the other person goes, awesome. Like, let's play with that. And you kind of go, what? Like you're not going to run away because I've got stuff? It's like, no, what if we just play together with it and work with it and we are honest about it and we just go, yeah, we've all got stuff. Everybody's got stuff. Which is why this kindness and this non-judgment of agape is really foundational. Without that, there's nothing. Everyone wants to skip that. They're like, yeah, but sometimes I have a bad day, I'm just angry. And it's like, yeah, but why would you take that out on the one person you love the most? Of all the 7 billion people in the world, go find someone else to yell at. Because if this person leaves, you're actually going to be really upset. And it's curious how we've developed this belief that our partner and our children and our family are the ones that we dump on. Because they're the ones we'll miss, And so redefining this, and I think it's time. I think people crave this. I think young people coming up are seeking something different in relationship. They want to have deep love. They don't want to just have what their parents had or their grandparents had. They're like, well, why would I get married to you? Like, I'm fine. Unless it actually strengthens me or nourishes me or makes me a better person or allows me to grow. Why would I do that? And I think that's why I really love teaching Tantra. And it sounds very, anything said in Sanskrit sounds very out there, right? But I think it's something that's really being called for right now, because we seek that deeper experience. We seek that, there we go, trying to talk. We seek that deeper experience. We actually want something else. Because it takes great courage to turn towards someone when you're hurting, right? And to turn towards someone in kindness when you're hurting is a huge challenge, right? And, you know, I know like with my partner, it's the same thing. It's like, and I can feel myself get triggered, you know? I'm very human. You can write books all you want, but you're still really human, right? And it's like, and I can feel myself literally almost physically turning away, going, and then there's this choice. It's almost a choice in your heart that says, are you going to turn away, or are you going to turn towards? Like, do you trust this person can handle this, that they won't run away, and do I trust that I'm safe to share this and not attack him? Like, sometimes the other person ends up representing the entire other sex or gender or whatever, right? And it's like, men are always like this, you know, and it's just like, no. One guy in your past did this to you, and I just happened to do it again. It's actually, it's not everybody. And so it's really interesting. And so for me, my script becomes, I turn to them and I go, I'm freaking out right now, and I know this isn't you, but I really want to fix it because I don't want to wreck this. And normally, the other person goes, oh, okay, talk about it. Like, let's talk about it. And then something else happens. And sometimes I swear that's all we need to know, is that there's another option besides freaking out. That we actually can say, we can actually even talk about how I don't know what to say. And then, oh, well, maybe we'll just hold you for a while. And then with kindness comes safety, right? With that safety, suddenly you're allowed to cry. Male or female, like, we're allowed to cry. We're allowed to go, oh my God, like I am, or I have no words because I'm crying. And then you cry and cry and cry and cry. And then finally you go, oh, it's this. Oh my God, I feel so much better. Someone once told me that when you cry, it's the liver releasing stuff. And a liver in like Chinese medicine holds anger, frustration, disappointment, all these kinds of things. And so every time we cry in an intimate relationship, and it could be with a friend, it could be with a partner, it could be with anybody, every time we cry, it's like the liver actually releasing all of this pent up.
My liver must be really clean.
Right? You know, and so now, if I'm ever like crying, in like my partner, he'll say, liver juice is flowing. It's this beautiful thing. And now it's like, yeah, I'm helping. And it all began with some trigger that I was upset about. And now it's all, and we're closer and closer and closer, because now he's helped me and I'm better and we're closer. And then all of a sudden every issue that rises brings you closer instead of driving you apart, which is really new. And I think that's the whole thing about like redefining human intimacy, is that historically it was just sex. And even as someone who teaches Tantra, so often people come, they go, I know this is wrong, I know something's wrong in my relationship, is there something I can do differently? But the truth is, it's just about kindness. It's like, I have online courses, and there's an individuals course and a course for couples. And the couples, oftentimes they'll take the course because they're struggling. You know, so one will sign them both up, you know. And the first homework is they have to be kind to each other 100% of the time. Well, of course, this creates a huge fight. Right? And they're like, yeah, but I can't be kind all the time. Like, that's ridiculous. Or they'll say, well, that's so boring. Where's the excitement in the relationship? And it's like, I'm not saying you have to be a doormat and boring. Just be nice. Just be kind.
No, I think some people also think every so often you need a good fight so you could have awesome makeup sets.
Yeah.
My mentality is like, why not just have good sex all the time.
Good afternoon,
Right.
everyone, and welcome to the
Yeah, you
first
don't sit
OKW
so then you
Expo.
can skip the fun.
In
Oh my God.
2016, we'll be teaching
Well,
a
and you know what's
seminar on
interesting about the
self-defense.
fight
This
is-
seminar will teach you on how to protect yourself and an intro
I'll
by
just wait for
full
him.
spectrum defense.
I can't fight with
This
him.
will be held in the workshop
I
area
can't
at 1
match
o'clock.
him.
Also,
So what I was going to say in terms of that is what's interesting about needing makeup sex is oftentimes we don't actually become individuals until we're fighting, right? So it's like in a relationship we sort of blend together that, oh, well, I'm going to compromise this part of me for that part of you and da-da-da-da, and you do this blending thing. But as humans, we're meant to be individual. Like we're meant to be individual humans living a life and being kind with each other and connecting in a very intimate way. But we're not supposed to lose ourselves in it. We're supposed to be individuals. So the fight is where we go, wait a minute, I'm a person here and I have thoughts and I have a right and I have opinions and I have this, which I think is why the makeup sex is better. Because you suddenly pulled apart and you become your own self and you go, hey, how you doing? Right? Because now you take your power back and now you're like, yeah. So imagine, and this is why like Tantra is actually an individual's journey. It's me actually going, well, this is my spiritual journey, this is my calling, this is what I'm meant to be doing. And then I look at this other person, I don't need them in my life because I'm me. But if I look at them and I go, wow, I think you're really wonderful, I choose to be with you, that's awesome. But we're still individuals. So the intimacy is always lovely because you're always wondering, oh, how are we going to blend today? What are you thinking today? We don't have expectations. We're not assuming that the other person thinks this or wants this or expects this of us. We're always going, it's like one time someone defined enlightenment as living life like you've never experienced this before. Never been to a health expo, I've never eaten a hamburger before, I've never had a cup of, I have a friend over in England and I was talking to her on the way through Tim Hortons one day and I ordered a double-double and I said, hold on, I'm just at Tim Hortons, and she says, what's Tim Hortons? And I said, oh, it's this donut chain, and she says, what's a double-double? She says, when I come visit, can I have a double-double from Tim Hortons? And that's all I said. And we forget that it's cool to have a double-double from Tim Hortons, right? And this guy actually said that this is enlightenment. Like you imagine being with another person, and it could be holding a child's hand or a grandchild, or being with a friend, or being with someone you've been married to for 20 years, and going, I've never actually seen you before. Like, because we're actually different every day. Every person we talk to, every experience we have, we're different. So imagine you actually meet this person for the first time, every time you meet them. And then imagine, like in intimacy, they actually let you be intimate with them. Like you're actually allowed to touch them. You're not allowed to touch anyone here. That's weird. You can't just go around doing that. Like, right? But, yeah, stop it. There's that girl. She keeps touching my face. Right? But to actually have another human that says, let's do this. It's actually an honor.
See, guys are a little bit different. Guys will be like, wow, I like that girl touching my face.
That's different. You're right. You're right. You know, but so it's a really to actually look at every single interaction with every person, at least your intimate people, as literally you've never met this person. You know, I just picked up my son. He was up in Thunder Bay at college, and he's been gone for 4 years. And I'd see him every so often, like at holidays, but to actually sit with him in the car driving home from Thunder Bay was so nice because I actually got to meet him again. Like, who are you now? Like, I know who you were for the first 20 years, but who are you now? So imagine we do that in intimacy. Like, imagine every time we meet someone, we go, wow, like, who are you today? Well, then all of a sudden, if that actually becomes sexual or something like that, it's always brand new. Like, it's always new because there's no expectation. Because, you know, especially as a woman, it's hilarious, right? I don't know how guys do it because we are literally chemically different every day. Like we like there's no no way. So you actually have to be present every single day. You actually have to meet your partner and go, so what's going on? What's going on here? And as a woman, that's what we desire. We actually want you to see us today. We don't want what happened yesterday. We actually want a brand new experience every single time because we're different. You know, we don't want to feel like it's just a cookie cutter thing that, oh, well, you know, it's Thursday at 7:30. Come on, this worked last time. You know, we're not, because we're different. And that's what keeps the relationship alive, you know.